So hi everybody, it's almost time for the equinox and I thought I'd give you a couple of bits to help. First of all, we're going to look at what's happening at the equinox astronomically, and then we'll look at the significance of that in a spiritual sense. So the equinox happens twice a year, on the 21st of March and the 21st of September-ish. Can sometimes be the 22nd, it can sometimes be the 21st and sometimes the 23rd. And it's the time when the path of the sun crosses the celestial equator. So, what does this actually mean? The Earth has a north-south magnetic axis, which is on a tilt from its orbital axis. So the Earth circles the sun, but it also circles itself or spins. And the equatorial, the plane of the equator, is 23 degrees difference from the orbital plane, or the plane that it orbits on. And because of that, the Earth has seasons. Half of the seasons, the northern hemisphere will be in summer, and the other half, the southern hemisphere, will be in summer. And this is because of the tilt of the Earth. The celestial equator is a similar line to the Earth's equator if it was projected onto the celestial sphere. But the ecliptic is the path of the sun. And that's where we see the familiar objects like Orion, for example, and Leo, all the constellations, Sagittarius, the stars that we recognize. Between December and June, the sun is in a position above the celestial equator, and the northern hemisphere receives more light. Between June and December, the sun is below the celestial equator, and the southern hemisphere receives more light. So around March 21st and September 21st, the sun passes over the celestial equator. So if you were standing on the equator, the sun would be directly above you at midday. And that's when the equinox is. That's now, okay? And it's also when day and night are of equal length, more or less. Around the 21st of December, the sun is in the furthest point south that it goes on the ecliptic. And if you are standing on the Tropic of Capricorn at midday, the sun would be directly overhead. On June 21st, however, the sun is at its furthest most point northward on the ecliptic. And if you were standing on the Tropic of Cancer, the sun would be directly overhead. So practically anywhere on Earth that you stand, the sun, if you watch where the sun rises or sets, but let's say rises each day, it's going to be moving either slightly north each day or slightly south each day. And the midpoint between the northern point and the southern point that it rises is the equinox. That's now. So, what does it mean spiritually? Traditionally, the ancients believed that the astral sphere was the mental sphere of humanity. So the constellations, Sagittarius, Leo, Taurus, Aries, affect us depending on their position in relation to us. That's why, depending on the moment of your birth and where the planets are, where Pluto is in relation to Jupiter, for example, that will change your nature, your mental atmosphere that you're born within. So they believed that the sun was the light, the equivalent to our higher ego, our higher self. It was the Christ impulse. The Christ was related to the sun, because traditionally the ancients were living very much more in harmony with the cycles and seasons of the earth. And so the sun represented to them the solar principle, the warmth, the light, the higher ego, the god. In the Egyptians, the sun god Ra, for example. And there's lots of examples all around the world. Now, whether you believe, as the ancient did, that you're part of the earth and therefore your relationship to earth, where you are on earth, matters, and your relations to the constellation matters, it's kind of arbitrary in a way, because there's also something else that seems to affect humanity, in that when enough of us believe a certain thing, it becomes so. For example, Christ's birth, actual birth, it is said, wasn't on the 25th of December. But the winter solstice, which was considered to be the time when the light returns, because it's the time when we're starting to move again towards summer. So they made Christ's birth, because Christ also represented the light, like the sun. They made Christ's birth on the time of the winter solstice, because he represented the coming of the light. Now, I've meditated over Christmas, and there is a kind of quietness when it feels as if something magical is happening. So whether it's because of the celestial influences, or whether it's because humanity has given it that special significance or not, I don't know. But we are born in a time, in a place, with all these celestial bodies moving through celestial spheres, and Earth moving through celestial spheres. So it does seem that the significance of the place where you are, the time where you are, and where the celestial bodies are matters. And it's like taking responsibility or surrendering to the place where we are, and making whatever we do the best it can be within the confines and parameters of that place. So it is said in spiritual traditions that the time of the equinox is when the sun is closest to the earth. So the light of spiritual realms is closest to the earth. It means they can hear your prayers, and we can hear maybe messages or things like that they have for us. So if you're on a spiritual path, what do you do at the time of the equinox? You aspire. So the highest part you find, the most innocent, the most heartfelt purity, the purity in your heart, and you turn it upwards to be the most you can be, whatever it is. So you can aspire for the next phase in your life, perhaps the next 6 months till the next equinox. You can aspire to be the most you can be. You can aspire to align with the highest principle of yourself. If you have particular spiritual presences you work with, you can aspire to them and ask them to help. And what is aspiration? Aspiration is a turning upwards of your being. It's not asking for a Ferrari or something particular like that. It's turning everything up so that you can allow spiritual forces, the warmth of the light, if you like, to influence your path, to help you on your way. So you can say it's a time to renew your covenant with the forces of truth. It's a time to aspire for you to be the most you can be. All right, so now we can meditate. Just watching your breath going in, going out. There's a way of watching the breath as it goes in and out over the larynx. You can even make it a little bit louder. It's kind of a way of opening the back of your throat and watching the breath as it goes in and out. Have your awareness in the larynx, but also aware of the breath in and out of your body. Awareness between the eyebrows. So it's dual awareness. Awareness in the third eye and awareness in the larynx. Your breath, awareness in the third eye, and awareness of the body sitting in a particular place. And the rise and fall of the breath. Awareness in the third eye, throat with the breath, and your body in place, in a particular place on earth. Just being aware of your body in a place, just where it is. The place where you are would be different if you weren't there. Feeling your presence, sort of a something, a certain something associated with your body, an awareness, consciousness, presence. As your breath goes in and out, an awareness in the eye. Feeling the effects of gravity, whether you like it or not, you're drawn down. Keeping on with the breath and awareness in the eye. You're drawn down at a particular place on earth. Just let yourself be drawn down. What if you followed the pull of gravity? Where would you end up? Just letting your awareness be drawn down, follow the pull of gravity. Into the earth, this blue planet, this globe, spinning through space, holding you in place. Just feel where you would be drawn to. Center of the earth. It's a part of you that exists at the center of the earth. Part of you that's always there. Part of your consciousness. Just becoming aware of the possibility of that. Possibility of the earth as consciousness. You, your heart, meeting the presence of the earth below, at the center of the earth. Presence of you, presence of the earth, heart to heart. Awakening to each other. Gratitude. That you can be here on the earth now, in this time and this place. Giving thanks. Feeling your central axis from the center of the earth that goes up through your body, sitting on the earth, and up through to the galactic center, all the way through. This is your place. Becoming aware of the celestial spheres, the ecliptic, where all the constellations are, It's what we see of the sky as the Earth passes around its orbit. And feeling the sun, solar principle, the life, the heart principle, the king, the higher ego, the higher self. And this solar principle is crossing closest to you now. Feel where it is. Feel its radiance. You on Earth, central axis, all the way through to the center of the Earth. Above you, the sun. Now, if your whole axis, your body, everything associated with you was made of 1,000,000 particles, turn everything up. If they're like flowers turning towards the sun, turning towards your solar principle, the God in you, the King in you, the Sun in you, and aspiring. Aspiring to align with your highest self. The highest possibility for you. Feel up into celestial spheres. Reach up. High, 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 vast. Cosmic expanses filled with gold and light. The warmth of the sun. Asking, what's the most extraordinary, the most enlightened, the most loved field path for you in the next phase of your life? What's the most you can be? What's the most aligned with the truth for you that you can be? Everything up. Turn every particle, every cell, every space between every cell, every bit of ether, consciousness, blood. Let it be seen from above, from your higher self, your sun principle, the sun in you. things you'd like to hold up, do so now. If there are things you'd like to drop them now. Feeling the quality of the sun all the way through your central axis, all the way through to the center of the earth, all the way through you, aligning with this principle of the sun. Radiance, warmth, truth, love. Letting yourself be a vessel for your sun principle. Feeling yourself below the part of you that's in the center of the earth below. Feel it receiving the light of the sun through your central axis. Taking a deep breath. Becoming aware of your body. Again, sitting on the earth. Sun above, the earth below. This moment in time. Just giving thanks. That you are here. Participating. Gently start to return. Feeling your body, taking a deep breath, wiggling your fingers and toes, When you're ready, opening your eyes. Happy equinox.